In a world full of stealth jets, AI, and drone warfare, you'd think that the guns our great grandparents used would be gathering dust in a museum somewhere. But you'd be wrong. So, what's the secret? How come some of the oldest weapons ever made are still showing up and even dominating modern battlefields?
I mean, really think about that question. Can a piece of technology, designed before the invention of sliced bread, before the Titanic even set sail, actually hold its own in the 21st century?
Well, the answer is a huge, resounding yes. You see them everywhere. From deserts in the Middle East to the front lines in Ukraine, these weapons are not just there. They're active, they're effective, and sometimes they're even preferred. So, what is their secret? Okay, so the first piece of the puzzle is all about how these things were made. We're talking about an era of serious over-engineering, a time when things were built from solid chunks of steel and wood, designed to last not just a few years, but for generations. So get this. Meet the PM M1910, a Russian machine gun that was designed way, way back in 1910. It has been in literally every major conflict Russia has fought in since then, and yep, it's being used right now. Its secret? A ridiculously simple, water-cooled design that means it basically never overheats and just refuses to break. To put its age into perspective, this gun is literally older than sliced bread. Just let that sink in for a second. Every time the army tries to retire this thing, troops just give it a quick wipe down and put it right back into service. It's that reliable. And this quote, it absolutely nails the reputation of the Colt M1911 pistol. Designed in 1911, it's the longest-serving military sidearm in history for one simple reason. You can drop it, you can smash it, you can bury it in the sand, and it will still fire. It is the definition of indestructible. Another legend built on this exact principle is the Thompson submachine gun designed back in 1920. This thing was made from solid steel and wood, famously described as being solid as a brick. It was so sturdy that just its weight alone made it a formidable weapon. And, just like the others, it keeps popping up in conflicts too. All right, so being built like a tank is one thing, but there's another absolutely critical factor here: elegant simplicity. These weapons weren't just tough, they were brilliantly and often brutally simple to make, simple to use, and simple to maintain. And of course, you can't talk about simplicity without talking about the undisputed king, the AK-47. Invented over 75 years ago by Mikhail Kalashnikov, it was never ever meant to be some kind of delicate precision instrument. No, the whole design philosophy was the exact opposite of that. As you see here, the goal was to make a weapon that could be dragged through the mud, get filled with sand, or even get frozen in ice, and still fire without a single problem. That absolute, no questions asked reliability is the key to its global dominance. And its impact? It's just staggering. First off, it's seen over 75 years of continuous service, used by everyone from national armies to tiny insurgent groups all across the globe. That widespread use has given it a pretty grim title. It's often called the deadliest gun ever made, linked to an estimated 150 million deaths worldwide, a truly mind-boggling number. And with over 100 million of them produced, it is by far the most common firearm on the entire planet, which pretty much guarantees we'll be seeing it for decades to come. But believe it or not, the AK isn't even the oldest rifle still out there fighting. No, that title belongs to the Mosin Nagant, designed all the way back in 1891. With over 34 million of these things made, they are just everywhere. And that right there explains its modern role. So why is a 130-year-old rifle still relevant? Well, because it's become the perfect budget sniper rifle. When you need a powerful, long-range weapon, but you don't have a lot of money, the Moss and Nagant is the go-to choice. It's cheap, it's plentiful, and it still gets the job done. Okay, so finally, we come to our last group of weapons. And these ones, they're not just old, they're timeless. Their designs were so effective, so fundamentally right, that we still haven't really managed to create anything that's significantly better. Let me introduce you to the M2 Browning, also known as Madus. The legendary John Moses Browning designed this heavy machine gun back in 1918 specifically for anti-aircraft duty. But its .50 caliber round was so incredibly powerful that soldiers pretty quickly realized they could use it on, well, just about everything else. And this quote just captures its legendary status perfectly. The US military has no plans to retire it. After more than a century, it is still the gold standard. The confidence in its design is so absolute that this joke about it being used on future spaceships, it doesn't even sound that far-fetched, does it? And here's another unstoppable force, the FM Mag. It's a Belgian design from the 1950s that manages to combine that same rock-solid reliability with incredible versatility. It's the go-to machine gun for over 80 countries for a reason. The real genius of the Mag lies in its sheer adaptability. I mean, look at this list. You can mount it on a tank, a helicopter, a pickup truck, or just give it to some infantry. That put-it-anywhere versatility makes it one of the most dominant weapons on the planet. So after looking at all these incredible examples, what's the common thread here? What are the principles that turn a simple weapon into a legend that can last for over a century? Well, it really just boils down to these three things. First, that uncompromising durability. They were simply built to absorb punishment. Second, an elegant simplicity. They just work no matter what you do to them. And finally, unmatched performance. Some of these designs were just so good, so perfectly suited for their job, that they still remain the best tool for it. And all this brings us to a final, really crucial question. As all of our military technology gets more and more complex, these old workhorses are a constant reminder of a timeless truth. On a battlefield, complexity can be a huge liability. So what's ultimately going to matter more in the future? The absolute cutting edge of technology, or the simple, reliable tool that you know will never, ever fail you?